What's going on, guilty guys and gals? Welcome back to Straw 2. Oh boy. Here we go. Ellipses. What is up with you? Always carried by us and now you're suddenly here to run things? I thought that said ruin things.
Careful, he might be trying to distract us.
The pool gate records. Sora? Or Sora? Wow, I don't know why I did that voice. Maybe I saw Emma in the corner and was like, yeah. Wait, the reason we focused on the ghost house was because Setsuka's dead body was found there. And the gate records had an ID without an out record, right? So? There's another attraction with an ID that has no out records. Really? It's the pool. Everyone, please look at this. Oh god. These are the pool gate records for today that I've taken notes of.
Huh? You're right. The person who entered at 524 NU30D2 has no out record.
What's going on? Oh, is this place run by ghosts? That's weird. There was no one there when I went in. Oh, so the person that entered at 7:10 and left at 7:15 was you, when we were searching for Setsuka, right? Yeah. I went straight to the pool as soon as I entered Department C. But according to these records, shouldn't there have been someone there when I investigated it? I don't recall seeing anybody. Well, there was an ID without out records at the ghost house, even when I didn't find anyone at the ghost house, remember? There couldn't have been a hidden space in the pool like the ghost house, or... Anyways, it's true that the pool also has an ID without an out record, so this is something we shouldn't just gloss over. Sorry, I knew it was suspicious, but Hibiki's reaction was so convincing that I...
so you knew about this. Have you lost your damn mind? You knew this and let these idiots choose that brat as the culprit?
I could say the same about you. Why are you suddenly helping us? She's right. You've always just made fun of us. In fact, you still are.
You know, I'm a guy who tries to live his life as efficiently as possible. I can't allow any damages or loss of resources with every action. If a problem can be solved without my effort, why even bother? But look what happened here when I left this in your hands. We're about to fail the trial, and you're gonna cost me my life. All of my efficient philosophies are worthless when I'm dead, right? My own life is more important than it. So what? How can we believe you?
Shinji, wait. Let's just let him do what he wants to do.
Are you sure we'll be alright?
Shobai is the literal definition of self-centered. He only cares about himself. For him to act like this, it probably means that we're wrong. To be honest, I felt something was wrong even before Shobai brought this up.
Shobai, by us failing the trial, are you implying that Hibiki's not actually the culprit?
Of course. Why the hell would I be talking like this if it wasn't? Be grateful. Y'all are just saved from certain doom. But don't worry, you can pay up big time after this is over.
Yeah, that won't be happening.
What's up with that attitude? You think you're smart? Arcanata is way smarter than you.
Yeah, smart enough to commit murder.
And the smartest girl here didn't even check the gate records of the other attractions? We're even more fucked than I thought.
The pool gate records? Of course I checked them.
Huh. And you didn't object to all this? I wonder why.
Whether the pool has an out record or not, the body was found in the ghost house. Isn't it natural procedure to focus on the crime scene where the body was found?
That reminds me.
You gonna talk about the hair clips?
What?
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry for interrupting, but I mentioned this to Sora, right? That the pool today was closed during daytime. Does that have to do anything with,
What do you mean by that, bro?
Well, around 12 in the daytime or so, I went to the pool to take a break and work myself out. But it was sanitation time, so I ended up just coming back empty-handed.
Pool sanitation time?
There was a small sign in front of it. It said not to enter, and if you did, you'll be punished by Monocro. Close enough, you know what I mean?
Wait, I've never heard of that. I guess I forgot to mention this. But the pool in Setsuki Land goes into sanitation once in every week. During this time, all the water in the pool is drained, and there are a lot of chemicals involved. In the process, so we keep everyone out.
Out of this house.
If I don't mention violating the rule part, someone might just barge in and get in danger. Well, I guess no one would risk their lives to enter there. But that's the most confusing. I recalled that today was not the day for pool sanitation. I shouldn't say this. A teacher should stay out of the class trial.
Yeah, that's what I thought. What? So that means there was a picket even though it wasn't pool sanitation time?
Now do you get it? That was put there by the culprit. Why do such a thing? Simple. They had some very important business in the pool that required nobody coming in, namely chopping up a body.
In other words, Setsuka didn't die at the ghost house, but rather at the pool. Yeah. Figure this part out. Is that what you're trying to say, Shobai?
Yeah, you were all wrong, and that girl's been spouting nonsense.
Nobody look at me.
Shobai, wait. Understand the pool also has an ID without a net record. But that alone doesn't disprove that the ghost house isn't a possible place where Setsuka died.
What do you mean?
He's saying that Setsuka could have died in either place, but Setsuka couldn't have been in two different places at the same time.
Shut up. I'm gonna explain why the murder couldn't have happened inside the ghost house. You, white hair, pull out the gate records of the ghost house again.
You know my name. You stabbed me. Don't order me, though I will show you the gate records.
So, by your little theory, the person who went out at 5:57 is Setsuka Chibukuro, right? Because only that ID has no out record.
I thought I was supposed to say in the first one.
And the WN, whatever, who went in at 5:55 and left at 7:42, that's the culprit.
So that would mean that at least up until 5:57, Setsuka Chibukuro was alive.
The culprit left at 7:42, so she had almost 1 hour and 45 minutes to do everything she needed to do and get out. What about it? Idiots. You think that time is enough to chop someone up like that?
Well, we've never tried it ourselves, so...
Let me tell you ignorant brats something. It's impossible. You need at least 1 more hour. Especially with a case like this. What do you mean?
Because then you'd have to move the body.
I looked into the corpse. The edges were trimmed off extremely cleanly. They didn't just cut it. They stitched it up so the insides wouldn't flow out.
You kidding me?
Whatever it is, it wasn't their first try. It's the work of a pro amongst pros, I'd say.
As if there was such a disgusting professional among us. If there was, it would be you. You're a criminal, right? You even stabbed Sora without hesitation on the first day here.
Well, I guess I could do it. But that's all the more reason I can't guarantee it. There's no way someone can manage such a task in less than 2 hours. Even for a professional.
If anyone else said that, I would have sounded like nonsense. But coming from you, Shobai, a criminal on active duty, do you know how to persuade someone?
Now that makes sense.
Well, I entirely agree with you. It should be tough with just the dismemberment, but the crime doesn't end there. The culprit needed to carefully put each body part on the pillar, create some room behind the folding screens, and, in case someone enters, turn out all sources of light.
And, in fact, Sora did enter there.
And turning off the lights is the final step. You can't dismember a body under no light. Since it's impossible to predict whenever who will enter, they would need to be given a lot of time before they finally turn off those lights. But doing all that in an hour and 45 minutes? Well, does it look possible now?
Shobai's actually using his criminal experience. This is amazing.
It certainly does feel impossible, even excluding the dismemberment. And most importantly, blood traces were found, but no pieces of flesh were found in the ghost house.
They could have somehow taken care of the flesh parts.
Hello? Have you been listening to me with only half an ear? I said that she had to take care of the insides. There needs to be cut off flesh ends lying somewhere around, which the ghost house sure didn't have. Now, if I was at the pool, you could get rid of the flesh and blood just by drowning them in the drain.
It's true.
If the killer didn't cut the body in the ghost house, then what was up with all that blood?
This is the missing blood sacks.
Right. I thought it would be natural to have that much blood lying around if Setsuko was chopped up in that place.
If the killing didn't happen in the ghost house, then as Yuruko said, it wouldn't make sense for there to be trails of blood there.
Unless...
And considering its large quantity, it would be wrong to assume that it would be split blood from moving the body around. Spilt. So that blood is... How did they flush the entire torso down the drain, though? That's what I'm wondering. Like, where's the torso? The blood packs. Maybe the blood isn't from Setsuka, but from the blood packs at the infirmary.
The blood packs in the infirmary? But we don't have any proof anybody used them. Wait, I know. I saw them disappear. I told this to Sora, right? All the blood packs had disappeared just this morning.
Yes, because of Teruya's account, this is a sure possibility.
Wait, you even checked the infirmary items?
I believe that this was something only I could do, so I was going to try and cover as much ground as possible. Teruya, if you'd noticed the blood packs being taken, you could have at least told us. I just did. Are we that much not trustworthy?
That's an awkward sentence, but okay, Shinji.
Are we that untrustworthy?
Could have just said that. Huh? Wait, did something happen between you guys? Oh man, now I'm out of the loop. It's never good for a journalist.
We can talk about this later. That isn't the focus right now.
What do you think about this, Shobai?
Done deal. What do you mean, what do I think? Of course that's what happened. Though I didn't expect there to be a freak here that keeps record of all that. There were a bunch of empty blood packs in the ghost house. All the blood in the ghost house is fake. Small performance by the culprit.
Well, it's not fake blood, but...
But why would they go through the hassle of...
To divert our attention to the ghost house and away from the pool. Sure enough, we were all focused on the ghost house until Shobai stood up. Like Shobai said, even when we went over last time about the fact that the place the body was found isn't necessarily the place the person was killed. The shock factor of the scenery in the ghost house was enough for us to gloss over it. If they put that much effort in the ghost house to make us think the ghost house was where Setsuka was killed, means that
the actual crime happened at the pool, not the ghost house.
It was a trick by the culprit to make you not even think twice about any other place than the ghost house.
Wait, what is on Setsuka's face? Hold on.
But to use all those blood packs, what if someone needs a blood transfer or something?
I don't think they're worried about that, Shinji.
There is no need to worry about that. I'll make sure to replenish the stocks after the trial. There's still more?
Well, the amount of blood used was a lot less than the actual amount of the blood packs taken.
You call that a lot less?
Let's just leave that at that for now. Maybe they miscalculated the amount of blood they needed. The important part is that the crime happened at the pool. Y'all got that part, right?
Y'all?
Well, the only attractions that had IDs with no out records are the ghost house and the pool. And we just discussed the fact that the ghost house couldn't have been the place where Setsuka died. You guys had something called brains. Maybe you wouldn't have had to do this much work.
When did Shobai become the MVP of this trial?
That thing is smart after all. Probably even more so than Kaede Kanade. It's so unfortunate that he only uses it for selfish gains. Can you stop laughing like a gremlin in the corner?
Kinade? What's wrong? You taking that slight jab by Sora really harsh?
Oh god.
I've been listening to you all this time, but you're quite the comedian, aren't you? All these contradictions, yet you stick to your delusions. Well, sure, let's just assume that the ghost house wasn't the place Setsuka died. Then what about the pool? Are you saying the pool is a possible place?
Why'd you have to use so many P words? Alliteration.
Is it not? Sora, the Pool Gate records.
Sorry?
The Pool Gate records. Show them to me.
All right. That's how I feel right now. Okay, I feel like you and Shobai should be having this conversation.
We can ignore the last two records made by Yuruka when we were searching for Setsuka. Let's take a look at the ones before then. Whether it's the pool or the ghost house, there's an ID without an out record, and that's Setsuka. We're all on the same page about that, right? Then Setsuka's ID should be the one that entered at 524, NU30D2.
Yup.
If you look at the gate records here, two IDs entered at, oh my god, these times respectively. In other words, there was no one at the pool between 9:54 till 12:54. And we only have one suspect left, CN9FU3, who entered at 12:54. If Setsuka died at the pool, then the person with this ID must be the culprit, right?
I guess so. What about it?
Shobai said that the ghost house wasn't a possible suspect as there wasn't enough time for the culprit. But our suspect at the pool, CN9FU3, left only 1 minute after Setsuka had entered. What?
That's not what happened at all. They used someone else's handbook. Probably Setsuka's. Yeah. The rules only state that you have to swipe a handbook, not that it has to be yours, and that only one person can go through at a time.
Now, a quote from your own words, Shobai.
Something about idiots? I actually have to read that. Hold on.
Shobai, idiots. You think that time is enough to chop up someone like that?
I hate her.
About 2 hours, maybe. 1 minute?
Even if Setsuka died immediately, that wouldn't work.
But by that logic, it's impossible for both the ghost house and the pool to be the crime scene.
Wait, even if the pool is where Setsuka died, we found the body at the ghost house. Couldn't they just kill Setsuka at 5:24 and immediately leave with the body?
I see. After all, what do gates matter to a dead body?
So you're saying that the culprit somehow took care of the crime scene at the pool and left at 5:54 carrying Setsuka's dead body to the ghost house?
If the pool is the place, then that's the only way the culprit could have...
I'm sorry to inform you that's also impossible.
Oh, come.
The pool is in Department C while the ghost house is in Department A. They're at complete opposite sides of the park. Do you think anyone could walk that distance without getting caught? Carrying a dead body of all things?
They could if they took the monorail.
By your theory, the culprit needs to leave immediately after killing Setsuka, so no time for getting up the body. Then we're back to the start. Even if you somehow cheesed it and made it to the ghost house,
Cheesed it.
it'll be too late for you to start the dismemberment then.
Then what? Where did Setsuka die, and how did she end up like that?
This seems theoretically impossible.
Well, I admit my first theory was debunked by Shobai. That means we have to start from square one.
Meanwhile, Hibiki's just crying in the corner.
No need for that. The crime is still possible even if we assume Setsuka died at the pool.
Really? Now what nonsense are you on about? There's a clear contradiction there.
Bullshit. It's all possible if there's an accomplice.
An accomplice?
Shobai, you might not know this since you're always sleeping, but accomplices can't exist. Even if there is an accomplice who helped the real culprit, only one person can win and escape. There are no benefits to being an accomplice.
Shut up and just listen. Well, the oldest sis from the twins that you guys suspected, yeah, she's definitely not the black one. That's for sure. But she did enter the ghost house and left the hairpin there, so it's hard to say she isn't unrelated to this case.
You sure you're not, like, a detective?
So you're saying that my sis is an accomplice? Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
You said it yourself. You don't have any memory, and you lose memory when you're in a pinch. An accomplice who helped the crime but lost the memory of doing so. Sounds perfect to me. Don't you think that's too good of an opportunity to miss? What are you trying to say? By my theory, the real culprit used that twin sis in their own crimes. There's only one person who knew about her thing. Give her a big mental shock or two and use her as an accomplice. Once the deed is done, her memory will disappear, concealing the existence of an accomplice.
Wait, Shobai, but that raises some questions. If that's true, then the culprit needs to know the fact that Hibiki loses her memory if she receives a mental shock. Who could that be?
Well, duh. That's why the person who knows that's the real culprit.
Someone who knew about Hibiki's secret used her as an accomplice? But the only person who readily knew that fact was... Dun 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 dun. This feels like we're getting to the meat of the case, but the issue... Why are we going back? It's me! The fact that I know we have, like, a whole lot of episodes left makes me think this is going to get dragged out really differently. The only person who knew Hibiki's tendency to lose her memory is you, Kanade. No, Koji. Got it. That was the hardest one to say.
Ironic, ain't it? You're the one who revealed that fact. Congrats. You scored in your own goal. Kanade Otsunokoji. She's the one who did it.
Oh, wait a minute. Kanade's the culprit.
What, you got a problem with that?
But she was with us the whole time. Well, not exactly. But she helped us throughout the last trial as well.
By that logic, Emma also helped out during Yuri's case.
Wait, not everything's been confirmed yet. And we can't be sure whether there was an accomplice or not.
Shobai, why do you think these two are the culprits?
I mean, I know I did the trial by myself because we were about to die if I didn't. That doesn't mean I know everything. But even so, you sure you keep your brains as only decorations, don't you?
The reason why Shobai is so fixed on Kanade being the culprit. Let's listen to what he has to say. Because it's bloody obvious. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. The video quality went down here for some reason. Okay, we're back to normal.
Well, there's a lot of reasons to suspect. But first was the state of the corpse.
The state of the corpse? The dismembered corpse, you mean?
What do you think was the cause of death? Huh? I thought it was dismemberment.
You can't dismember somebody while they're alive like that.
We don't know about that yet, bro. You didn't mention it in the monochrome file.
What I mean by that is, like, there's no way she could make those clean cuts and do all of that if there was, like, struggling involved. And it also would lead to death by blood loss, which would be highly inconvenient for Kanade. The file said that something sharp was the murder weapon.
So perhaps she was stabbed by a knife and then dismembered?
And then she'd have some traces of being stabbed on her body, unless the torso was missing.
Was there none?
Every body part was checked, yet there weren't any traces of trauma on the body.
Then how did Setsuka actually die?
Shobai must be suspecting Kanade because of some evidence. Yeah, Setsuka's torso was, like, you know, shoulder height to Kanade, so it makes sense that that's where she chose to stab. Missing abdomen, please, thank you. No, that's wrong. For some reason, that voice line just sounds so bored to me. I don't know why. No, that's wrong. I think that's part of the reason why I gave Sora the voice she had in like the beginning of the series, where it was just like... Sorry, I got cut off by the video cutting. I was going to say the voice Sora had was kind of monotone like this. Been trying to give her a little bit more emotion now. Maybe it's like Chiaki, where she grows more emotional the more the time goes on. Wait, Nikkei, did you say that we searched through every body part? Yeah. It was really hard for me to do it, but we managed to. What you just said reminded me. It seems like every body part was carefully laying on the altar, but that's not the truth. One part, to be precise, the abdomen was missing, right, Shobai?
What are you asking my consent for?
Consent.
The girl's right, though. The body is missing from the hip up to the part right below the chest. It was also written in the monochrome file as well. If I recall correctly, the area around the stomach is missing.
Wait, the fact that they deliberately got rid of that part, that means there must be some clue on it, right?
Maybe they stabbed her there. They might have tried to hide the cause of death.
But why? I thought there was a reason important enough for them to hide it.
Unless the murder weapon was very specific.
There was one.
And what's that?
You might not know this, but the stabbing mark on a body is different than the hand you use. To be short, you can determine whether the stabber is right-handed or left-handed using those marks.
That's interesting, I didn't actually know that.
Really? But what does that have to do with hiding the cause of death?
I guess it's because you don't, like, straighten your hand perfectly when you stab somebody.
They say that only 10% of all people are left-handed. Majority are right-handed, and I reckon that might be the likely situation amongst us as well.
Among us?
Now, what if the mark indicated that a left-handed person had stabbed this missing abdomen? There's only one person here who would know that fact beside me, and you know who it is. The murder mystery buff. You're suggesting the culprit's left-handed?
Kanade, I'm asking this just in case, but what hand do you usually use?
My left hand.
Bingo. Bingo bongo.
That's amazing.
You thought of this just from a missing abdomen? How in the world does your thought process work? I'm very focused on murder.
There's only one thing I'd like to ask you, Shobai. How did you know that Kanade was left-handed? You did suspect Kanade based on the fact that the culprit was left-handed, right?
That girl did some performance thing at the second island, right? Right in front of the shrine.
I was just about to mention this.
The guitar she used was left-handed.
Because left-handed guitars are very rare.
You remember that from long ago? Wait, maybe all this time you were just pretending you weren't interested in us, but you really were? Don't make me laugh. You might be under the impression that you've finally solved the case with your incredible intellect. But if we're talking about lefties, there are plenty of people here who are left-handed besides me, like Iroha. Oh, wait, what? Me? How did you know that I was left-handed? Wait, that isn't the issue here, is it?
It's because you draw, Iroha. All the time.
You always grip your pen with your left hand, right? How could anyone miss something that simple? And Shobai, you still haven't solved the contradiction of the gate records. You need to move the body from the pool to the ghost house at Department A somehow. Even with the inclusion of an accomplice in the crime, that is still impossible.
So sorry, Missy, but that ain't quite the case.
I could watch these two fight for days.
What?
Because I hate them both equally. It's fun to see them tear each other down instead of the people I actually like.
Do you really think that I'd suspect you just from the stabbing marks?
Okay, that's not fair. I hate Shobai less than Kanade, certainly, but I dislike both of them.
That's just a conviction. This is just a conviction.
What?
It's not like the abdomen was actually found and I had material proof of the stabbing wounds. I just tried to come up with a reason why the culprit had to go through the hassle of getting rid of it. Then how do you solve the contradiction of the gate records? By bluffing like I just did. I'll go over them now. What do you think was the actual reason this contradiction occurred from both the ghost house and the pool? In the first place.
Well, an alive person must use their handbook in order to go through the case. The case? The gate. But since Setsuka couldn't do that, as she was dead, there are only in records that'll get recorded.
So, when we ruled out the places without any suspicious out records, only the pool and the ghost house were left.
Think about that one more time. Only a virtual ID gets saved on the gate records, right?
He's about to say what I said earlier.
You all assume that ID was Setsuka just because it had no out record. So what? Just tell us already. Hasty, eh? Me too. To put it simply. All the gate records of the attractions can be manipulated.
This is what he was checking with Iroha's handbook earlier. Okay.
What?
Wait! The gates always require you to use your handbook to enter or leave. How in the world are you manipulating them?
Who said anything about using your own handbook?
Yeah, here we go.
Monocro never once mentioned you have to use your own. He simply stated that you have to scan a handbook.
Then that means...
Yup. You can use a handbook of another person to go through the gates. If that person already went in, it would leave the wrong gate record. Don't lie to us. How does that make any sense? Well, it does. I tried it.
So back when we first arrived on the third island.
This is a flashback. I'm not talking through all this. You know what happens. I'm gonna steal Iroha's handbook, scan it on the gate. It's gonna be great. Sora's gonna threaten me. I'm gonna be mad about it. We're gonna watch this whole scene again? I don't know if I can handle that. I am one for brevity, after all. Apparently. I like to conserve my resources, and this is a waste of my time.
I'm kind of confused about Shobai's characterization at this point, because I had the inclination in the first case or so that Shobai was he was kind of sorry for what he did to Sora, and he was kind of willing to work with her a little bit. But at this point, it seems like they both just hate each other. It's kind of funny. Honestly, what Shobai, Nikke's relationship with Sora is more what I imagined Shobai's relationship with Sora to be like. But that's fine. Where Sora sees him and he's like, "Hey Shobai, what are you doing?"
Just hanging out.
So the reason you took Iroha's handbook was to try that out?
Yeah.
Everyone, do you know what this means? It means that our basis of the gate records was wrong from the start.
But even if what Shobai said is true, it just became harder to, or even impossible for us to identify who was who.
No. If you assume that the gate records were rigged and the reverse thinking process, it begins to unfold. My theory is this. Satsuka Chibukuro died at the pool. The time of death was probably around morning.
Morning?
Good morning.
Give me the records again. I'll go over them one by one for you.
I like new Shobai, though.
As you said, Satsuka Chibukuro went somewhere by the culprit's request, and that was the pool. Got it? If you look at the pool gate record, Satsuka Chibukuro's ID is probably IS3JZ2.
IS3. Okay. That went in at 8:45.
Went in at 8:45. I just said that. DJ6SX7, or should I say Miss Kanade over there, entered 1 minute ahead of her.
That makes sense.
But that would mean that Miss Little Sis left at 9:22. Only 40 minutes to spare.
That's where the accomplice comes into play. I call that the twin sis as the accomplice, remember? 9:22 is exactly when she entered the pool, using the handbook of her little sis.
Oh, that's more complicated than I could have imagined.
Oh, what's going on right now? I didn't quite understand.
Me too.
Oh, I see. Kanade gave her sis, who was waiting outside, the handbook from inside. The gates only check if a human being passes through them, so objects do not matter.
The little shit was shown the corpse by the slightly littler shit. And just as we were told, she receives a mental shock and loses her sanity, becoming the best crime tool ever. Accomplice that loses her own memory. After that, the littler shit went to the swimming pool at 9:54, setting up the pool sign so that no one would enter.
Wait, what? I thought that the out record at 9:54 is IS3JZ2. Wasn't that Setsuka?
According to this theory, she would have already died at that point. So Kanade used her handbook. Now that it's been confirmed you can use a handbook that belongs to another, it would have been Hibiki using Setsuka's handbook. What about after that? The little shit came back at 12:54 carrying the tools needed to dismember the corpse. She used her own handbook this time. After spending about 5 hours cutting the body up, they both left at 5:24 and 5:25 with the body. In pieces. They probably got rid of the sign at that point. The little shit throws the sign over the gate at 5:24. And the littler shit puts the sign back in the swimming pool and leaves at 5:25. It's as simple as that. Here, they can use their own handbooks this time. Now, what do you think will be the end result of the gate records if we follow these steps?
Oh boy. A new image.
The end result? Well... Oh! Hibiki used Kanade's handbook when entering the pool, right? And since Kanade's ID already had an in record, it would show up as an out record. So when Hibiki left through the gates, the resulting output would have been an in record. I see. So that's how the pool had an ID without an out record. If we apply Shobai's theory, the actual reality of the pool gate records would be like this. 8:44 and 8:45. The two records here would be from Kanade and Setsuka respectively. The out record at 9:22 was Hibiki using Kanade's handbook to enter the pool. The out record at 9:54 was Kanade using Setsuka's handbook to leave. And she entered with her own handbook with the tools at 12:54. Finally, after she dismembered the body, both she and Hibiki left at 5:25 and 5:24 respectively. Here, even though Hibiki was already inside the pool, this was the first time she'd used her handbook on the gate, which resulted in an in output. Thus, the ID without an out record, NU30D2, wasn't Setsuka, it's actually Hibiki.
Oh boy. Well, that's helpful at least. I like how Hibiki is angry and Kanade is, like, lax. It's the opposite of their actual personalities at this point.
It's getting a bit complicated. Could you give me a simpler explanation? Sora already did a very simple explanation. You couldn't even understand that? I'll just leave it to you guys. I'm sorry.
Well, she is an idiot after all.
Mean. No bully.
But, oh man.
Wait, I get that you're assuming the culprit used the time between 12:54 and 5:24 to dismember the body. You would need ample time after all. But it took 3 hours for the culprit to return to the pool from 9:54 to 12:54. Do you think it would take 3 hours for me, the culprit according to your theory, just to find some tools to do the dismemberment?
Who cares? The signpost would have kept everyone out of the pool anyway. You had time to spare. Probably doing some other stupid thing during that time period. Like poisoning Sora's coffee or whatever that was. Hey, Roha, you said you saw Hibiki enter the ghost house a bit before 6 o'clock, right? That must have been at 5:55 where they arrived from the swimming pool.
It must have been then that the twins moved the corpse to the ghost house. After all, the body was actually found there.
But how?
Come again? I don't like the way you're staring at me, and I'm evil.
I told you this before. How would you move from Department C to A without getting caught?
It's quite simple, actually.
The only thing Shobai deduced is how the gate records can be explained, and how the murder could have happened in the pool. And basically everything. Even he doesn't know how the body was moved, right?
I mean, we can figure it out. It's not that hard. She definitely has a point. The corpse had the head, body, both arms, hands, legs, the feet. 10 pieces altogether. And how would you manage to move them without getting caught?
The first ever gate record of someone entering the ghost house was at 5:55. Since we have Iroha as a witness, we can surely say that it was Hibiki who entered at that time. But by Shobai's theory, the culprit left the pool at 5:55, leaving only 30 minutes to move the body to the ghost house.
But now that we know there was an accomplice, it would take half the time and effort to move all the body pieces, right?
They just put them all in a big plastic bag. So each carries 5 total pieces? Do you really think that's possible?
I'm sorry.
Maybe they had some sort of bag that they had the corpse in. You know, the ones like in movies and manga. A corpse bag.
You mean a body bag? Close enough.
And what if someone finds you?
How are you going to explain it to them? You gonna say you're doing whatever? Or something?
That really is the main problem. Forget the time constraints, you would need to stealthily move the body without getting caught. Oh, I just thought of an incredible solution.
What is it, Nikkei? Wrong protagonist.
The monorail. We have the monorail that goes around each department in Satsuki Land. If they use that, it would take around 5 minutes from each department to department. And, as a plus, you wouldn't be seen as well.
Thank you, Nikkei.
Oh, that's right.
My guess is they actually used the parade, but the monorail is a great thing. Sure, you can use it to move without being seen, but was it really possible for the culprit to use the monorail? After all the explaining they did of the monorail... What the hell is this? Oh. I guess this is the end of the video. Well, Monoko said to do it, so you better. That's not true for me, but good job, Jasper Gomers, I guess. Okay, bye. Bye-bye, Monocro. Okay. So, yes. Here's my thought on how the crime was committed. Ready? Here we go. So... Kanade... No, here's what happens first. Setsuka calls Hibiki to the pool or somewhere like that early in the morning. Or Kanade uses Hibiki's handbook to call Setsuka to the pool. Because I don't think Setsuka would go and just meet Kanade. I don't know. It feels more likely she would go and meet Hibiki. Seems how they have their connection and everything. Setsuka finds Kanade at the pool instead and gets shanked. Then Kanade uses Setsuka's handbook to call Hibiki over. Hibiki sees the body and blacks out. Kanade goes out, probably does whatever she was doing to, like, prepare all the, like, text message garbage, calling Iroha to the one place to see Hibiki as, like, an alibi for herself. She could even be, like, preparing stuff to chop the ghost house electrical equipment. Any of that, the garbage bags, and then some sort of sharp knife to cut the body. She comes back to the pool. They chop up the body. Then they take a garbage bag, go through the parade by jumping in some Satsuki Land costumes, some of those clown dudes, and travel from Department C to Department A that way. Then they get to the ghost house and they set up the crime scene. By the time, like, Sora has come in, I think Hibiki, they're, like, done, and Hibiki is, like, passed out or something behind the folding screen. Because I imagine that she left Hibiki there, I think. I think there was a reason for that through the gate record, that somebody was left in. Although, given what we just learned, that could be totally falsified. Then, I guess, eventually Hibiki gets back to her room while Kanade's been watching the parade this whole time. She probably just had Hibiki set up the ghost house the whole time while the parade was going on. Because the parade going on is the only time that Kanade can A, secure her alibi, and B, she can be sure nobody's going to go into the ghost house. And then Hibiki does all that stuff, sets up the body, then returns to her room. The parade is over, they look for Setsuka, and everything else is history. We'll see, I guess. But Kanade is definitely part of the culprit. I imagine she probably made Hibiki do it, and Hibiki's going to have to eat this execution, which sucks really hard. And Kanade is still going to be stuck around, which is going to suck even harder, but oh well. Anyway, do what Monocro said, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.